Ever wondered what makes TV so powerful in Jamaica? Time to find out. Welcome to Global TV Group 358, where television meets innovation. We're not just about shows, we're about shaping society. In Jamaica, TV keeps you informed, connects diverse voices, and supports democracy. Imagine a Jamaica where broadcasters unite, sharing data and collaborating globally. That's us, a unified voice in the TV industry. Did you know TV advertising is still king? It drives website traffic, boosts brand equity, and powers integrated campaigns. Even in an age of digital, TV stands strong, resilient in tough times. Our global TV deck is your treasure trove of insights and data. With charts, graphs, and success stories, it's your guide to impactful TV advertising. Curious to learn more? Visit our website and see how Global TV Group 358 keeps television at the heart of entertainment in Jamaica. Get ready to binge watch the future.
For me again, you can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't for me again. Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't for me again.
What fi go to eat no money, what fi at you, eat no at you. Covid money, miss you, we eat the your little rat you. Use the youth, them money, waste and bust a man to statue. Say me like a catch you, but bigger than a figure you. Take the spit of money, God, and say that it's not you. On the head, the man above him, look him, I got a bet too much. It in the kitchen, some fly by like a patu. When singers and DJs and social media's coming at you.
It burn me,
300% raise.
it burn me,
Garbage pile of the day.
it burn me,
Give the teacher them
it
raise.
burn me,
I see corruption
it
cease.
burn me,
Mash down the people them house.
it burn me,
Every day appear arms out.
it burn me,
Appear money them a thief.
it burn me.
And them a sell out with each.
Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't for me again. Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. You touch up line and a resort to crime. You can't for me again.
Come me say big up all the charities and all of the giver. Some a go like say them powerful, me no make a bigger. The 100 the promises, none of them not deliver. Cut up the youth, they rap and they down in our fever. Member bold money and they lie them tell. Corruption smell and they pocket them swell. When police don't a market like Satan out of hell, go mash up people start like thief when them sell.
It burn me,
On they treat the market man.
it burn me,
On them a treat the cat man.
it burn me,
On they treat the peanut man.
it burn me,
On them a treat the dirt man.
it burn me,
On them a treat the son man.
it burn me,
How them a treat policeman.
it burn me,
How them a treat soldier man.
it burn me.
How them a treat everyone.
Can't for me again. You can't for me again. You hold me down for a very long time. Can't buy sugar, we can't buy lime. Can't buy scallion, we can't buy time. You can't for me again. Can't for me again.
Stevie dim day. We in Global TV says certain kind of friend we no cape. And some informer friend we love lake. We in Global, bona fake friend and bona tape. We in Global, we not promote them, we not support them. Look at them on the cheek, come here represent for. We in Global TV, check it.
Good evening, good evening. Welcome to the People's Point of View. It is your Sunday evening. Thank you very much for joining us this evening. There's no need of trying to go lower than the Prime Minister of Jamaica. I mean, even if you dig a hole under his feet, you wouldn't manage to go as low as our prime minister can get. And because this prime minister is sinking lower and lower in shame and disgrace, we will look at one of the prime minister's latest disgrace this evening. We will look at one of the prime minister's latest disgrace. To my community party and all my family members, platform moderators, membership holders, dear subscribers, commenters, and trolls, good evening and welcome. YouTube, good evening. TikTok, good evening. Marcia Thomas, good evening. Sharon Bernard, good evening. Beverly, real sweet. Joan Bailey, Liebert Peart, Estina Tyne, Violet Watson. Good evening, everyone, and welcome. Debbie Duncan, good evening. How are you? Chantal Smith Zeeks, good evening. Good evening. You would have seen Unstoppable One, good evening. You would have seen a video floating around on social media. I've also posted it on my TikTok page, where the prime minister went to do a ribbon cutting of a social housing, the prime minister's grand prize, Catherine Hartness. Mr. the day nice over here, so till the weather start affect me already, because believe it or not, because it sun so nice and it's been going on for I think just over a week now. Blossoms actually start grow up on the tree them now, and that really is affecting me because I've been out and about in the park. Renice Nicholson, how are you? Bear with me. I've been out and about in the park and it got me sniffling. My nose are burning, I'm sneezing. But I saw it go. But we will chat along. But if you remember, the Prime Minister explained to us that the new social housing project is an MP-driven project. And we're going to let the Prime Minister explain that to you, because I needed to remind you rather of that explanation before we go into the disgrace of the Prime Minister's behavior. What is my... Hold on. You're meant to be in here. Why it's taking me out of the studio? Sorry, my peeps. Sorry about that. It's giving me a catawampus a time. Set in its order. Colleen Richards, let the Prime Minister remind you of the criteria of his project before we get into the disgrace of the Prime Minister's behavior, because the Prime Minister will not manage to get any lower than he's proven himself to be day in, day out.
So, yeah, you were asking about the social housing program. So the social housing program is designed to assist Jamaicans who are in the most difficult housing situations, meaning that their housing condition is such that it is considered to be unsafe, unhealthy, in a state of dilapidation, and their economic condition is such that they are not able to improve, upgrade, repair, or rehabilitate their housing. They are not working. They are probably retired. They are senior citizens. All right. Or they're indigent. We also require that the beneficiary has access, owns, or has permission. All right. Or has permission to use the land on which the granted benefit will be built. So, how do you actually get on the program? The first point is through your member of parliament. It's an MP-driven program.
The first point is through your member of parliament. It is an MP-driven program. One Father Tarzan, walk on. The first point, said the Prime Minister, you must go through your member of parliament. It is an MP-driven program. Continue.
Right. Bless. All right. So they will take your information. They are allotted 5 housing solutions each year for each constituency. All right, I hear you. And they then pass these applications on to the new social housing program, which is a unit in the Ministry of Economic Growth and Job Creation under housing. And that unit has an oversight committee which takes all the applications. They vet them and they do very thorough, very rigorous social investigation. So they actually come to your house or where you reside. They do a social survey. They talk to people in your community. They verify your employment status, your income status, your ability to work. They do a thorough check. And then after that process, they then verify that you actually either own the land or have access to the land or permission. And that would include bringing all the documentation and taxes up to date. And then from that process, it goes back to the selection committee to determine whether or not you actually pass the criteria. The whole process can take as short a time as 8 months, or we have seen situations where the process is as long as 2 years. So there is some amount of patience required. We are delivering now approximately 5 to 6 units per week, and we are completing probably about 8 to 10 per week. The objective is to... All right! The objective is to increase the pace of completion and increase the pace of delivery. We're over 300 houses now, so I'm expecting that next year the program will have developed the horsepower to be able to increase the pace at which we deliver, so that more people can get their houses more quickly. All right, TikTok, good talking to you. I'm going to get back to some work now as we head to the next location.
So you heard him well. It is an MP-driven program. For you to get on this program, you have to go through your MP, not through local government. Sorry about that. Through your MP, you have to go through. So you would have seen a situation in, I think, South Manchester it is, where Miguel Phillips held that seat. Whatever side of the political fence the recipient is on, Vincent Sophia, the recipient was referred to the project by Miguel Phillips. So in completion and the state ceremonial handover ribbon cutting that the Prime Minister regularly goes around the country and do, you would have thought that the Prime Minister would have leave it to himself and Miguel Phillips. The Prime Minister chose not to do that. I've always heard Carlos speak to the Prime Minister about when he does these handover, how he make it look cantankerous and all that. Let us take a look at what happened during the end of last week. And what I want you to do, I want you to listen carefully to the happenings on the ground. Listen carefully.
What am I talking about? What are you talking about? Sir, Philip, save yourself. I'm name enough to save yourself. You have a name. You have a name enough. I'm saying your name. This is what is the same. Sir, go back. What is?
It's okay, Mr. Young. Don't worry yourself. That's okay, Mr. Young. Let him go ahead and
What is this? Understand the politics?
Mr. Young, what's the issue between you and the Member of Parliament?
From my interpretation, the Member of Parliament seems intimidated and seems petty, as if he cannot stand my presence at a mere ribbon cutting. A ribbon cutting that the Jamaica Labour Party government has really working so hard with this whole program and has provided.
What's the issue between you and the caretaker? What was it about a while ago?
I have no issue.
He said that it's some political intimidation. What's your response?
There's no issue. He has no constitutional right to be a part of what we're doing here. He has brought politics into the handing over of a house or a beneficiary that is well in need. And my decision is that he cannot be a part of this process. He's not the elected representative. And he should know time and place for everything. Don't get the politics mixed up into something like this.
So, what Andrew Holness did was at the handing over of this property. Zeets, I'm playing it on YouTube. I don't know how to play video on TikTok while I'm live, but I have posted those videos on my TikTok so you can watch it afterwards. Suzette Williams, good evening. Andrew Holness told us earlier, it is an MP-driven program. You must go through your MP to be on this program. The The recipient then would have gone through Miguel Phillips. When the completion of the property and the handing over, Andrew Holness turned up with Mr. Young. Mr. Young is the caretaker JLP candidate for the next general election. And it sparked an embarrassing debacle. But something else happened. Some things are being said in the next clip coming up that I will play for you that prove that the Prime Minister arranged and organized this disgrace. Now, my speculatory thinking based on how the thing went down, the recipient seemed to be, I'm assuming here, seemed to be a member or supporter of the People's National Party. Let us listen, and then I'll tell you why I think so, if that is not the obvious fact.
You can campaign to intimidate. It seems like one beating in the local government was not enough. So you come for a second. Eh?
Somebody's inside the house.
So we did not expect today's activity in handing over a house to someone in need to become a campaign tool. Thank you, sir. Thank you.
Show labor rights, they say. No free handout. It is on that why I'm assuming the recipient is a member of the People's National Party. The Prime Minister is doing a handover of a property. The Prime Minister, one, turn up, bringing Mr. Phillips' rivalry, who has no right to be there. This is a government project. This is a project that you have to go through the elected official to get onto that project. Andrew Holness then turned up with his caretaker candidate to take the glory of the handover. The disrespect, though, that the Prime Minister organized was when he carried his labor rights supporters on the ground in that campaigning, intimidating, insulting manner. Show labor rights, no free handout. The way members of the Jamaica Labour Party and the Prime Minister is behaving is that the social housing project is a JLP sponsored project. It is why they behave like, say, this is an Andrew Saving Grace project. This is the people of Jamaica paying for those houses. The Prime Minister in this shows that he's not Prime Minister for all of us. Because even though I am forced to give somebody from the PNP one of these houses, then I must insult them at the end. I must intimidate them. I must converge upon them with a campaign crowd to let them know that this is a labor right house and there's no free handout. How low can the Prime Minister get? As I've said before, Carlos always said this about the Prime Minister. Whenever time the Prime Minister doing these handover, it's always a disagree, a tension and anger and whatever. But trust me, Manchester, South Manchester, was the lowest Andrew Holness can get, Opal Watson. Even if you dig a feet under this Prime Minister, Kate, how you do? You will not be able to go as low as Andrew Holness. With all the failure of leadership, the no leadership that Andrew Holness displayed was shown to all of us. His labor supporters were there. Bear in mind, this wasn't a political campaign. This wasn't a political rally. This was a handover of property to, quote unquote, someone in need. And the Prime Minister turned up with the media, turned up Iceland with his campaign crowd. During the disruption of the JLP candidate, Mr. Young, the Prime Minister from what was played said, I did nothing. The Prime Minister was sitting in the second clip. The Prime Minister was sitting around the table with Miguel Phillips and the recipient. And the Labour supporters stood right there in front of the Prime Minister. Show our labor rights. No free handout. This Prime Minister, who has no backbone of any leadership, this Prime Minister, which is a corrupt criminal without integrity, sat there. So this was a carefully orchestrated plan by Andrew Holness not to embarrass Miguel Phillips, the MP, but to embarrass the recipient because she's a member of the Jamaica Labour Party. And Andrew Holness thinking that carrying Mr. Young, I'm enforcing that this is a JLP sponsored project. Let me tell you, Prime Minister, you cannot this time buy your way to power. You cannot manipulate the people, mind, Prime Minister, anymore with optics and narratives. We've all seen you for what you are. A narcissist, a corrupt criminal, a thief, a propagandist. How low can this Prime Minister get? It's just the other day we find out that they're stealing poor people's land. And here come the Prime Minister. When you think they would try to do better in all of what we identify, they actually sunk lower than we thought this Prime Minister could have ever gotten. Because honestly, I cannot describe how low this is. And the Prime Minister behavior and his utterances last Wednesday turn me now to the Prime Minister's great-grandmother, mother, and grandmother. Last week, Tuesday, at the press briefing where the Prime Minister celebrated International Women's Day of the Unbelief. The Prime Minister said, I couldn't be a bad child or something to the sort of that because I have 3 mothers. I have a mother. I grew up with my grandmother. I grew up with my great-grandmother, so I grew up with 3 mothers. Let me ask you something, Prime Minister. The 3 mothers where you grew up with, none of them never teach you no common decency. Prime Minister, if you grew up with 3 mothers, and none out of the 3 of them, Prime Minister, no teach you no moral or common decency, then I probably them teach you for thief and tell lie as well. Because anyone of we know what it is like growing up with your mother, grandmother, and great-grandmother. You're well grounded because you have 3 layers to buck through before you get to anything else. Prime Minister, what have your parents taught you? Certainly, Prime Minister, common decency, honesty, integrity. You remember these words, Prime Minister, you spoke them, I think, in 2022 conference in Montego Bay. I love the poor, but I hate poverty. I know the Jamaica Labour Party supporters support Andrew Holness in whatever level of disgrace the Prime Minister decide to dive into. He has the support of his party. But remember, say, anyway, Andrew's cheat one set of Jamaicans, he will treat the other. It is the very reason, members of Jamaica Labour Party, why UNO and the party is having a standoff. Because Rosalie Hamilton said, Andrew and him friend them cheat UNO however they want to cheat UNO. Regardless of party affiliation and our tribal politics, we should not expect this type of behavior from our leader. When we elect a leader, whether it be PNP or JLP, we elect them to govern for Jamaica, not to govern for JLP, not to govern for PNP. And any of these projects run by whether be JLP or PNP, these projects are not funded by PNP or JLP money. It is funded by our money, the people of Jamaica. So Andrew Holness, now have no house to walk and give it. Andrew Holness more likely thief a lot of house from us. It is the people, social housing project. It's we, the people, are helping the less fortunate amongst us to have a dwelling. So please, labor rights, don't stop going like this is an Andrew Holness project. This is a us, the people project, and we pay for it. All right? Andrew only rob up the money for it.
The social indigent housing program of the government
Agency
of Dr. Andrew Holness, and I'm really proud of what we have been able to accomplish and lives that we have touched and changed.
I'm happy that you've shed some light on it, and I would have wanted you to dive a little bit more into the program itself, since it was started by your ministry.
Okay, what the program does, as I said before, persons can apply. They are investigated by the poor relief officers. They must have the land to build the units. And once that is done, we now proceed after the investigation to see whether or not the persons are eligible. They meet the criteria which is set up, because you must be a part of a program that does not allow you on your own. And there are cases where we have provided houses for persons who probably are not that destitute, but because of their circumstances, we have provided for them. Now, the Poor Relief Department of the municipal corporations retain responsibility for the units.
Yes.
So while you occupy those units, the Poor Relief Department does its monthly checking on the units. You are not allowed to do any addition to the units. The units come fully furnished. It is something that I when I came up with the idea of furnishing the units, we did it because there are cases where we saw persons have homes, but there is nothing for them to sleep on. So we figured it does make sense to give you a nice room, and then you have to sleep on the cold ground.
Or furnish the
So we provide the necessary furnishing for the unit.
Right.
Now, the unit cannot be rented. It is not for sale. No addition can be done to the unit. And the unit cannot be handed down to family. And we have cases where occupants have died, and the Poor Relief Department retains the unit, and then it is handed over to someone else who is in need.
Absolutely.
So what we do, and we encourage persons to take care of the units. We notice that a lot of all of our units are built from concrete, and it has been done deliberately.
It has been done deliberately. It is a disgrace. Honestly, I am lost for words. Kind know me very lippy. And I'm actually lost for words, Barbara Simpson, to describe the Prime Minister's behavior. I'm absolutely lost for words. I don't know what to tell you. It's the, hold on. It's the honest truth. Hold on.
One
Where
of
are
those
you?
persons, and everything I say tonight will come to pass. And I want to start with the youth of Portland, because no matter how it is everywhere,
We'll just carry ISAT's speech until ISAT finish, then we go back to housing.
Disconnect in terms of including the youth as the future. If you don't believe me, the Prime Minister have a habit of labeling the youth of this country violence contributors. If they get themselves in trouble, they say, meet the judge or meet your maker. All of these are statements that is an attack on the Constitution, the right to life. I will call it no other thing but incitement to murder. It must be rejected. Now, the future of the youth of Portland is what we must invest in. And to do so, we have to see them, we have to speak to them, and we have to encourage them, even when they're falling short in the education department. We have to set them back on that train to ensure that they get that education. How is it that we're going to do that? We meet them halfway, certainly not by telling them to rub out them hand middle. We're rejecting that. We're mashing that down, and we're broken vase for that. Yes? I rebuke it. Oh, no. Ball out! All right.
Careful of Portland, you're there.
Listen.
Stay there about ball out.
In keeping
in a Portland
with what is my belief, that no matter what you go through in life, and I'm talking to the youth right now, Because I know they see me, because I am them and they are me, just like I am you and you are me. Your future is what God has set for you. Let no man speak any negativity into your life. And so in order to do that, you have to believe in yourself and you have to set yourself on a path. But what is the path? Well, you must get some government assistance and you must have a strong advocate to say, Mr. Prime Minister, I'm pressuring me, I can't go back to my constituency unless we have something for the youth. And the answers that come from that is your future. That is what you need. A member of parliament who will ensure that you are included. I am your voice. Currently, you have no voice at all.
You're afraid Darrell hear you?
And while there are some that can dance their way to prosperity, the true meaning of upliftment will come from strong advocacy. And that is my message to the youth. Now, when it comes to education, you have heard from the next education minister. I don't need to take it any higher, but to say there is equity in education, a sense of ensuring that every single child have access to the opportunity to become the best versions of themselves. How to do that? Well, I came to Portland Eastern and I identified that in 2025, a part of a positive education or a strong access to education is the technology, access to technology. So I am committed to complete what people say is the impossible to ensure that every child in Portland Eastern has a tablet. And I've been doing good so far because we are at 1,000 plus tablets. Now, while it is that Mr. Crawford is the education minister, it does not stop me and prevent me as your next member of parliament from adopting a school. So I don't want the other schools to be jealous, but Fair Prospect High School is a school that I have chosen to adopt. And here is why. It has been labeled the dunce school. And we have to break that lie, mash that down, and ensure that the children have the type of internal locus of control, that thing, they call it vavavoom, oomph, to feel that they too.
Take advantage of this unique offer. 4 incredible options to boost your productivity, and each at only £29.99.
To champion, because the quality education is right here in their school where they are assigned to, Fair Prospect High School. And I want you to vision that for your children, so that when they say, listen, I want to be an attorney, you don't worry about the money. Tell them to have the qualifications and the rest will come. Because certainly that's what happened in my life. And I want that for your children. Now, agriculture. Because some people say, boy, Mr. Buchanan, you love talk about this education thing, but me as a man will like work for my own and I'm good at this. You always have to meet the people with the skill sets that they have and then show them how to improve on that. How are we going to do that? Always. Everything I'm talking about. I hear Miss Sherry over there, she goes say, we want money. We need money to do everything. So if people are farming, they need the assistance. We are in a parish where water is running rampant through streams and waterfalls and rivers. And guess what? It's drying at the pipe. If you're not by the water, you're dead for thirsty. And when we talk about buying water, I did say and, not and. Because you have to buy it from the vase truck in a what them call vase land. And the last time I checked is Portland. So we have to ensure that what we think about is catchment areas. How do we go about not the areas where we're simply going to just turn on the pipe when I win, but how we are going to channel the water, catch the water, store the water. And without giving out that plan, I'm going to tell you that it is a simple fix. And fret not thyself. So if you love water, just vote for me. I promise you will be all right. If you like beard, vote for me. Now, we talk about economics, and I listen to Dr. Harton, and me not understand not the way I say still, but it sound good. And it always, you know, it really takes just a little bit of competence for knowing you're fooling in some areas. So there is currently in the government, this current government like to put the PR minister for Minister of Health, the health doctor for the Minister of Security. That's why crime is so high, because I don't know nothing. So when you know that you don't know nothing, you seek the professionals. What I can tell you is that the economy in Portland Eastern, right as I'm talking to you, is dead. We now have none. Yes? The business owners by themselves are key.
Why is it frozen? Bear with my peeps. That's the technicality on the ground. That has nothing to do with us on this side. But you would be aware that this is the Bring the Heat to East Portland Forum currently on the way. The Prime Minister for St. Vincent and the Grenadines is also in attendance as well. I don't know what sort of technicalities happen on the ground, but certainly it has stopped playing. Me no know if Andrew Holness and him friend them. Me no know if Andrew Holness and him friend them attack Kern Spencer channel, because it's been going on quite well. And then them just
offered to Portland Eastern.
Oh, they're back.
What does that look like? Well, while your prime minister is running around saying, I have one house here, and there's confusion whether the person has the title and the fee simple ownership to pass to the next generation. I have a man on this stage in a country similar situated as Portland Eastern and Portland Western, Portland Parish, that is building 2,800 houses since burial that just passed. And while your government says is burial it's not a recession, it's not a compression, it's not any ession. The reality is your government has failed you, and that is why time come for change. Now, everything when we're bringing the heat is tied and connected, so I don't have to repeat. But when we speak of health, and I'm ending at the health part, mental health is an area that people do not understand, but it's so important, because we are nothing without our health. And if our health is neglected, it is tied and attached to our right to life. This government is stifling your life, a healthy life, a mentally healthy life. And when you think of your brothers and sisters, whether it be at school age or thereafter, who was never assessed for learning disabilities, for different mental disorders. It is because the government, as it is right now, does not understand it. And while it is, they may have senators that think they are qualified to diagnose, reject it, because insanity is doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. And so there can be no third term, none. That is what you're going to mash down. Reject it. And how we come together as the people of Portland Eastern, and I know Jamaica at large as I speak to you, I'm going to tell you something about Duppy's story and the truth. I'm going to tell you something about what is the facts, and you must check it. Don't make media turn it and twist it and flip it and reverse it. And a music, your life is not a musical. Reject it. So let's start this way. It is a fact that we are in a recession. Anything else is Duppy's story. It is a fact that in Portland Eastern, them take away Blue Lagoon from the men who used to make a living there. It is a fact. Me not come off of the Blue Lagoon yet. Me not have no villa down there. So I'm going to tell you something why I can talk up for you. It is a fact that the road that is blocked by a security company that nobody wants to admit who is paying them. Yes, it is a fact that that road is a parish council road, and the parish council has the responsibility to give you complete access to it. Anything else is Duppy's story. Don't matter how much time you put press releases in the media. Reject it. Dash it away. You can't twist and flip and reverse the truth. It is a fact that while I am speaking to you, this beautiful parish, Prospect fishing village is being taken away from the young men and women who have lease agreements and who have their businesses that they strive and survive from. It is a fact that Winifred Beach, some umpy-scumpy things going on there. More to come. It is a fact that Sanko Beach is taken away from the people, regardless of the arrangement. It is a fact that everything that is beautiful that belongs to you, you are being disenfranchised from this current government, and your MP is incapable of advocating for you. Yes, it is a fact that anything and anyone who come and try to refute anything I just said is giving you Duppy's story. I'm going to tell you one more fact, because it's not only Uni watching. It is a fact that any member of parliament or any person who feel in 2025 you can play the race card on one of the blackest man in the land who will be your next prime minister, you is a dunce. Do that and beat me. Make sure you're looking at the camera. So you see, right now, I hear people talk about you got to rub out and you got to do this. Just call the election, because I promise you, it is a fact I will be your next MP. After the election is called, we have a lot of work to do. We have a lot of healing. And I'm saying to every citizen of Portland, Portland is for you. Every person who not yet a comrade, come home. Yes? Those who are angry, come home. Those who were bamboozled and tricked, come home. Those who were given a t-shirt with a little something in it, come home. Don't take it this time. Dash with that. Send them out of the parish. Run them out.
We found love in a hopeless place. We found love in an open space.
To do. And anybody who is afraid of me, I am here to advocate to you. Your free speech is yours. Say anything you want, come me. I go come a court and defend you for free. The word is love.
Just like in the holidays, to have the
That's the speech of your next member of parliament for East Portland. The vases is probably spitting feathers and chewing air rather at the moment. The way the vases must be irritated, they would probably be spitting feathers and a char here at the moment, because they literally have failed the people. Hold on.
Next to ISAT Buchanan. The Queen of the West, look at her. Right.
to have the pagan and let it roll away. Listen to what I got to say.
Well, look for whatever the press release will be tomorrow morning from the vases. But back to Andrew Holness and the social housing disgrace. Was it that the observer was invited, or is it that the observer got hold of video footages from what happened at the South Manchester with let us just listen a bit what Ralph Gonzalez have to say.
Comrade Chairman.
Hey, Marie, how are you? Empress Deb.
President.
Barbara.
Of
Renee.
the People's National Party. Mark Golden. My friend and brother and comrade, ISAT Buchanan, and all our friends and comrades and warriors present here. I came to Jamaica yesterday for one principal purpose: to speak at the University of the West Indies to students on the issue of leadership. ISAT, of course, whom I got to know personally last year, asked me if I can stay on and attend this event. And of course, I agreed to be at this forum. I came to Jamaica 59 years ago. I know Jamaica more than 80% of the people here listening to me, because I've been here before you. I don't know how many of you landed at Palisadoes in September 1966. Before that, I don't know how many of you. Damien, you never learned Palisados before me. And I was a student at the University of the West Indies for 5 years, from 1966 to 1971, where I did a first degree and a graduate degree. And I went away and did a PhD and returned in 1974 and taught at the University of the West Indies for 2 years here in Jamaica, and then was transferred to Barbados to teach at Cave Hill. And in 1979, I took a sabbatical and returned to St. Vincent and the Grenadines to assist the progressive forces who are engaged in the struggle for independence. And after we achieved independence, the government in Barbados declared me persona non grata, that I couldn't return to Barbados. I had a woman and a child, Jamaican woman. And I decided, well, if that is so, I will continue my political activism. And there are many countries in the region in 1979 which prevented me from entering. I was born a rebel. I was born with a rebel seed. I was a young rebel. I am today an old rebel. Wiser, more experience, and know how to do things fairly well. There are a lot of things to rebel against. A lot of things to do better. Poverty, poor health, unemployment, insecurity, crime. And you may be asking, well, why is it that this old man continues? I'm 78 years of age. And I do not intend to leave behind any unfinished task. I have been Prime Minister now for 24 years. From 2001. By the end of this year, when we go to the polls again, I would have served almost 25 years as the Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The People's National Party and the Unity Labour Party and its predecessor, the St. Vincent and the Grenadines Labour Party, have had party-to-party links going way back since the federal days. We're part of the West Indies Federal Labour Party. And of course, as a student in Jamaica, I was very much involved in political activities, and I knew Michael very well, and we corresponded. He was my friend. He was my comrade. He was my mentor. Now, I became president of the Guild of Students in 1968. And as a consequence of my role as a student leader, when the then government, headed by a good person, Hugh Lawson Shearer, was prime minister, the government decided to ban Walter Rodney on October the 15th. He had attended a Black Writers Conference in Montreal, Canada, and on his return, he was prevented from re-entering Jamaica. Had his wife here with a child, and his wife was pregnant. And when I heard about it the evening, I mobilized the students on and off the campus. And the next day, we marched in our thousands and were joined by thousands of Jamaicans of all walks of life to protest. We were beaten and tear-gassed. You can read about it. I've written about it. There's a monograph I've written. It's on Amazon. You can buy it, or you can find it in the library anywhere at the university here. And the campus was under siege for 2 weeks. When I say under siege with guns. Then we returned to classes. And shortly after we returned to classes, Sir Philip Sherlock, then Vice Chancellor, a great man, told me that the Jamaican government
Save £70 on the Vax Spot Wash Home Pet Design. Perfect for cleaning up after furry friends. With a
and that I had to be deported. And he made arrangements for me to complete my university education at the University of the West Indies in Trinidad. I went to the Faculty of Social Sciences where I was enrolled. Bruce Golding, my friend, was in that class. And I told Bruce, he said, no, they're making a big mistake. So he went to the office of the Secretary of the Economics Department and telephoned Eddie Siaga, who was then Minister of Finance and at Vale Royal. And Siaga invited Bruce, myself, and another Jamaican to come to dinner that evening. When I went to dinner that evening, Hugh Shearer called and I spoke with him. And he said that they will reverse the order. So my friend Bruce Golding saved me from being deported from Jamaica. Sometimes when we got into conflict with one another in CARICOM, because sometimes our politics didn't see eye to eye. He said the worst decision I ever make is to save you from deportation from Jamaica. Now, when I came to the university in 1966, it had only been 5 years since Jamaica had voted to leave the Federation in a referendum. And when I came, the students from down in the Eastern Caribbean told me how Jamaicans don't like people from the Eastern Caribbean. The ghost of the federal past was still hovering like a nightmare. But I never like to take what people tell me. I like to find out for myself. And I began to travel all over Jamaica. I used to go on weekends, go up to Papine. The two buses which used to leave Papine to go downtown into Kingston. One was number 7. You remember the big Jolly Joe bus? Number 7 would take you past halfway through, go down to 3 Mile. And the number 6 could take you to Crossroad and go downtown, and you could stop Crossroad. And you can take the bus and you can come through Yalas, Port Moran, coming right round to Port Antonio. And I used to put a change of clothes in my bag and my swim trunks. And I will go with no money in my pocket other than my bus fare. And every single Friday night and Saturday night, including in Port Antonio, they had a dance, a fete. And I will go, on every occasion, somebody will take me home. I was taken home in Port Antonio too. I know what's going through your head, but rebuke that thought. And I discovered that the Jamaican people, full of love. And I had to tell my brethren and sisters from the Eastern Caribbean, you're not reaching out. You have something in your head and you let that torment you. And I went with some other students in January of 1967, organized with the Cosmos of Westmoreland. I was in Jamaica only 3 months. And I went down there with about 20 other students. And we spent nearly 3 weeks. And I did laboring work, helping to build a day nursery down in Savlamar. It is when I went down there that there was a lady from Westmoreland, was also a student. I really didn't know her before. And I saw that maybe she was more interested in bringing water for me. And as the Holy Scriptures say, some begatting took place. And the young man who came forth is currently the Minister of Finance in my government, my son. Camilo. I give you the shortened version of my involvement. I give you the King James version. Rastaman, I ain't get the Maccabees. If I get the Maccabees, we're going to stay here all night. Now, I read about this Buchanan fella, how he was so persistent with Vibes Cartel, and that he won a case at the Privy Council when everybody thought it was impossible. But I didn't really pay any attention other than that. You know, I listen to Vibes music. I like it. I'm wearing Clarks. I don't want Popcorn get vexed with me. He's a Clarks man too. So my secretary told me that Isaac Buchanan is on the phone. So I said, put him through. He said, Prime Minister, I am Isaac Buchanan, a lawyer from Jamaica. I had to put him at ease. It was very formal. I said, tell me something. You are related to the Redskin Buchanan them in St. Elizabeth. Could I support the PNP? He tell me yes. I said, go on, talk. Tell me what it's about. And he told me about the illness of Vibes Cartel. And that he had heard that we had a special facility in my country and that we had specialists in endocrinology dealing with hyper and hypothyroidism and internal medicine. I told him, yes, we have some Cuban and Indian experts. And if he wanted to come, it's fine with me. I will have him facilitated to get treatment. And I told him, I say, and you'd remember this. And I told Vibes the same thing, told Cartel the same thing. I said in the book of the prophet Micah, the question was posed and answered. What does the Lord require of us? To do justly, to love mercy, and to walk humbly with our God. I said, the act which I'm doing for Cartel is an act of mercy. Because all of us, we are on the dangerous road to Jericho. And we don't know who is going to be robbed on the highway. Who's going to need his or her wounds to be bunged? Because remember, the priest passed by. The Levites walked by. The Levite is a public servant, Well, the lawyer passed by. I wasn't surprised at that. Except the lawyer named ISAT. Except the lawyer named ISAT. But along came the good Samaritan. There are a lot of men who preach things even inside of the church and don't preach it right, That's why Bob Marley said, I feel like bombing a church because the preacher, I found him that he was lying. So some light, but you have many, many good preachers, most of them good. No. He said, Cartel is here. And he wanted to talk to you. And he came on. And he said, Vincy World Boss, the Jamaican World Boss talking to you. I said, tell me. He spoke and he came. I know a lot of persons were surprised across the Caribbean. I got calls. Oh, you can do this. Well, I just explained to you about the book of Micah. But Vibes then decided to tell me something that I know.
Did somebody say just eat?
Have you financed a car with Close Brothers Motonovo or Black Horse from 2007? They could owe you thousands of...
I said, that woman is my family. You hear me? And then I got confirmation by that the good Lord works in mysterious ways, his wonders to perform. No, you can't use his defense of cartel to beat him with a stick. And anybody who does that would be wrong. I don't think that anybody is doing so, but persons may be tempted to do so, and that would be wrong. Tonight, I listened. Well, let me finish this part of the story with cartel. He came to St. Vincent, and the young entertainers said they wanted to meet him. So I organized a session. And the first thing that Vibes Cartel told them is there on YouTube, you can see it. He said, I don't know about jail in St. Vincent and the Grenadines, but Jamaica jail is nice, and I spent 12 years. He said, I don't know any jail which is nice. So I want to tell all you young men and women, stay on the right side of the law. Do not get involved in any trouble. And stay away from jail. Well, a lot of those young persons, many persons, including priests and teachers and politicians, can't reach them. But he was able to reach them. And I thank him for that. You know, there was a man once. You can look him up, you can Google him. His name is John Newton. John Newton was the captain of a slave ship. And John Newton began a process of change, having had a conversation with an old man in a place called Sandy Point in St. Kitts, who told him that what he was doing was wrong. And he reflected on this conversation. And not too long afterwards, John Newton stopped this wicked act of transporting enslaved African bodies. He became an Anglican minister. And he penned one of the most powerful hymns ever in Christianity.
The Amazing Grace, I think.
And it's sung every day in our churches. Amazing Grace.
Yeah, I remember
how
that.
Sweet the song that saved a wretch like me. I once was blind. Brother Brewster, you're a preacher. And now I see. He emphasized that grace has saved him thus far. And grace will lead him home. The entire Hebrew Bible, the Old Testament, and the New Testament, including the books of Maccabees and all those which were left out in the King James Version in 1611. All of them is preaching redemption. One of the most powerful songs that Bob Marley ever recorded was Redemption Song. You know, I heard my brother spoke about second chances. I'm not dealing with second chances. I'm dealing with redemption. Last night, a student asked me a question. Prime Minister, you have spoken a lot about leadership.
Yes.
Tell me in one word, what is the most important quality for a leader? And the vice principal of the university was sitting next to me. Said, Prime Minister, that's a difficult one. I said, no, actually, it's easy. And I went to the microphone and told her the most important quality for a leader is love.
Hey, something that Andrew is short of, because he walk around every day and insult with shit and with shot with them.
If you don't love people, you can't lead them.
And hey, that's Andrew's
and love
problem.
Is a never fixed mark.
We just
that looks on tempest and is never shaken. When you love, volcano can't shake it.
With just
Beryl can't shake it. Tsunami can't shake it. I know nowadays a lot of people prefer another four-letter word. I wouldn't go there. But love, L-O-V-E, the most important quality. And a leader must have energy and will, vision and skill, plus an X factor. What is the X factor? It comes from love, you know. And what is this? A lot of leaders say important thing for them to do is to inspire. Inspire means to put in. And that's important. To put in goodness, high quality and nobility in persons whom you are leading. And relatively speaking, that is easy. The more important thing, the more difficult thing is not to put in, but to take out from the persons whom you are leading.
Andrew,
their goodness, their high quality, and their nobility.
Yes.
And often to take out their high quality, nobility, and to take it out often when they themselves do not yet know that they possess such high quality or nobility or goodness. Every single person here, every human being has in him or her goodness, high quality, and nobility.
Right, Angela,
the question is how to take it out. And you can't take it out unless you have love.
That Andrew Shata.
It's not easy. It's difficult because sometimes people don't even want you to help to take it out. But you have to help to take it out, nevertheless, because you love. Now, I am not getting involved here tonight with Jamaican politics. Let me just make that point. It's not I can't tell you to vote for ISAT. And I wouldn't tell you that. I could tell you though that I've gotten to know him since that initial contact. And I consider him to be a good and worthy individual. I am not implying that anybody against whom he is contesting is unworthy. No, I'm not saying that. All I can say, and I can affirm, that he is a good human being and a worthy individual. And given his life experiences, to come to you and offer himself. Whether you vote for him, that is your business. And I'm looking on with great interest to see what will happen. By the way, don't feel that anybody could be offended with me being here. Because right now, in my country, a member of the Jamaica Labour Party who is a parliamentarian in a seat, a lady, I presume that she's a wonderful woman, from Manchester. She's in St. Vincent with the opposition party women organizing something, and all praise and glory to them. But we will meet sometime later this year for the 6th consecutive term. So I don't worry about those things. No. I was very impressed with all the speeches here tonight. I repeat that. And I was impressed because of the focus on two things. I closed my eyes.
Abena.
And I was listening. Isaac thought the old man wasn't feeling well. You say, "You all right, comrade?" I said, I fine. And I heard the focus on interests of people and rights of people. Two important areas for any consideration by anybody in a democracy. Your interests, your material interests, those interests which touch and concern your life, living, and production, but also your rights as a human being. I heard that coming through, and I was very impressed with all what I've heard. I can tell you, talking about this matter with vibes, because it touches on health. I support very strongly any health program which speaks to the decentralization of health, especially its diagnostic services.
Yes, something we're short of. Short of diagnostics. Barely have any search.
It's a country of just 150 square miles. How many square miles Portland is? I don't think it's a lot different. In addition to the principal hospital in Kingston, the Milton Cato Memorial Hospital, I'm currently building $100 million US acute care hospital just outside of Kingston, the capital city. It's going to be one of the top hospitals anywhere in the Eastern Caribbean. But I also have rural hospitals. And I have polyclinics. And it's not one place we can go to for X-ray or ultrasound or CT scan, including rural places with X-ray and ultrasound. And in my constituency of North Central Windward, which is on the east of the island, the northeast, we have built a complex. We have a playing field. We have a 24-hour clinic, smart clinic, with all primary healthcare services. Resident doctors, dentists, social worker. Well, I'm dealing there now with the clinic first. Then I have a smart hospital. This is a rural area now. And then I have
Williams, welcome.
A modern diagnostic,
David Jervis,
medical and diagnostic center. I have all the diagnostic tools there, including MRI. You come there, you can do an endoscopy for $12 US.
Wow.
You can do a colonoscopy for $12 US. People leave in Barbados and come there to do them. You hear what I'm telling you?
We may need
I've operating theater.
Sent for healthcare.
Is the headquarters for oncology in the country. We do chemotherapy there, we make the drugs there.
Wow.
We have a number of specialists in all the areas. That entire compound with the playing field and those places which I just described, all told, it costs us over $75 million US. It covers, intended to cover, a population of 40,000 persons, including the principal area of the indigenous people. And in addition, at that place, we provide free hemodialysis. I have 60 patients there doing hemodialysis. They cost just under $2 million US to keep them alive. I will not allow the poor and the working people to die.
Yay!
Because they cannot have dialysis.
Andrew!
No. I hear people say, but things not possible. That modern medical and diagnostic center, 1:40 in the morning, about 3-4 o'clock, Fidel and myself were shooting the breeze in Havana. We're all talking. And he said, I want to help you with a diagnostic center. I told him, yes, but not like when I'm small, one way build with Chavez. I want a special one. And they designed it, of course. We put our resources to build it. And we have many Cuban specialists there. different areas. Actually, you need to come and see it.
Yes, John Bailey, leadership. There's a reason why he's there 24 years now.
And you would see what it is. And you know, the opposition in St. Vincent said, I shouldn't build it there for two reasons. One, they said that the Soufrière volcano is not too far away. And if it blows, it will mash it up. Well, the Soufrière blew in 2021. It did some damage and I repair it. I got my house in the Soufrière zone. I live a bush. I'm a bushman. I alone live up there in a bush. I live up there like a Rasta man, but with internet. Rasta man need internet, you know. I have to connect with the world. The second reason they say, it's too far from town. You see a particular mentality? We have to decentralize our medical services. I'm talking about St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I'm not talking about Jamaica. I don't know what you're doing, but that's your business. I'm talking about St. Vincent and the Grenadines. You know, in a period of 10 years, I built in St. Vincent. And I tell you, when I say I built, permit me to just be modest on this occasion. Everybody thought that to build an international airport, I built an international airport on St. Vincent and I built a jet airport on Canavan. The only government in the Caribbean which built an international airport and a jet airport within a 10-year period of each other. One complete in 2007, the other one complete in 2017. And I'm coming to where people say that things are impossible. Damian Bindi, he came on campaign for his partner, Carlos James, the Minister of Tourism, who incidentally just gotten the prize for the Tourism Minister of the Year in the world. You saw that? Anyway, there's one place, properly speaking, we could have built an international airport. There's a place called Argyle. The problem is this too, is that it had 2 mountains and 2 hills. So I had to bring them low. I had 4 valleys to fill. I had a river and a stream to span. I had 140 middle and upper middle income houses to move and cause them to be built elsewhere. I had to move a church and a cemetery. I had to move a small hotel and 2 guest houses. And I had to do my work so that I don't destroy petroglyphs, writings, some which we knew were there and others which we discovered by the indigenous people. And to protect the writings of the indigenous people. It held me up a while. And when other persons telling me, man, move the thing, then if you can't fix that up properly, I say I will not build an international airport and let people call me a Philistine. that I destroyed the writings of the indigenous people. That's part of our patrimony. When I said we were going to build it, they said I was crazy. They even said they will make appointments with Dr. Debnat, who is the chief psychiatrist at the mental hospital. This madman has to be made an appointment. I went to the traditional sources. I went to the Caribbean Development Bank. No. I went to the European Union. No. The European Investment Bank. No. The agencies of the United States, Canada, Britain. No. I went to the World Bank. No. But I'm going to build it. I'm going to build it. Because you see, I read the book of Chronicles. And I know when David set about to prepare the materials to build the ark to house, the temple to house the ark of the covenant, he had criticism. And after he gathered everything and all the plans, God tell him, well, you can't build it because you're a man of war. You got to leave it to Solomon, your son. But I'm not a man of war. So I could do the plan and I could build it. Just like how people criticize David and Solomon for building the temple to house the Ark of the Covenant. They did that to me, you know. The Canadian ambassador, High Commissioner in Barbados and St. Vincent, came to me after when we nearing completion, when she was going back. She said they used to meet every month and say, they used to mock me. They say I was like the man from La Mancha, you know, in Cervantes' novel. Don Quixote, tilting at windmills. And she came to apologize. God give us a brain. And there are hidden resources. I call them hidden rationalities. These are material and human resources which are submerged, which are ill-utilized, badly managed.
Andrew?
And these hidden rationalities, which constitute the core of the genius of our peoples, you can pull those out. And we set about that. And then, just like how David and Solomon had gone to friends nearby, for instance, to get the cedar of Lebanon. He didn't have any cedar. So I put a group where they're not even talking to one another. I had Cuba, Venezuela, Trinidad and Tobago, Taiwan. None of them have relations with Taiwan. Mexico, Georgia, under President Saakashvili. Turkey, under Erdogan. Libya, under Gaddafi. Iran, under Ahmadinejad.
Oh, Iran.
Like all Austria. And Austria. And of course, St. Vincent and the Grenadines. I went to Iran. The Americans came to see me. So I asked them.
Wix, one platform, any website, unlimited creation. Describe.
Iran is a country of 80 million people. You cannot isolate an ancient civilization. Iran, I told them, I asked the gentleman who came from the State Department, I said, would you please show me in the Hebrew Bible or the New Testament. Show me where America is. Yeah, you see, you don't understand the question. Because America is not in either them, either in the Old Testament or the New Testament. I said, go to the book of Daniel and you'll find Persia. And the Persian king, who was not a believer in the God of Abraham, got a man, Daniel, who was a believer in the God of Abraham, to be the chief administrator. We had a long religious and intellectual discussion on the left. And when I'm finished building it, I went to America, I went to Canada, and I went to Britain to use their external agencies, the executive, for instance, to borrow money to do the tower and to the airport and to buy the tree. I buy them from Nebraska with money from America with a low rate of interest. I pay them back. I built that airport, finish it in 2017. The value of it when we finish it was over $4 million US. But we spent about close to 300 million because we got some stuff in kind. Over 400 million. It would be the value, but we spent approximately close to 300 million US dollars. Right now, we owe less than 60 million US dollars, and I opened that airport in 2017. And because of that airport, the best sandals in the Caribbean is in St. Vincent. You hear me? So when they tell you about things impossible, ISAT, don't bother. There was an area of 2 football fields wide where there was a trickle of a stream. But when rain in the mountain comes down and wash away everything that passed, you could only drive on the flow of the river to go across. That is what divided the bulk of the indigenous people from the rest. They say it was impossible to build a bridge there. We built a bridge there. And that has transformed the lives of the indigenous people north of the Dry River. So don't let anybody tell you about things impossible. I don't accept when you tell me it's impossible. You're only pushing me to find a creative solution. And too many times, we leave things there because we say it can't be done. We have to have more faith in our people, more faith in the genius of our people. Faith is an important word. Love and hope, they have to be conjoined with faith. Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of that which we have not seen. And we have to have faith. But we must know that you just can't sit down and just pray and have faith. You have to work.
Oh, yes, Jamaica.
Faith without works is dead.
Nothing, yes.
And when you're working, now everything can be done one time.
Piece by piece, you'll get
everything could be done one time. The shortest distance between 2 points is a straight line. But I never know anybody who ever climbed Suffolk Mountain or Blue Mountain in a straight line. You have to take zigs, you have to take zags. But when you're taking the zigs and the zags, you make sure that you're ending up in a dead end, that you're going to the mountaintop. And that bond has to be established between the people and their leadership.
That's the disconnect.
Over the years, you know,
connection.
of my 24 years,
Andrew. Disconnection.
Sometimes the people faulted, you know. Sometimes it's my fault. Why they faulted?
Then we buy the gun. Hey, the gun. Then we buy the gun.
Not having enough buying on the vision. None of us is perfect. No. We have had in our country and make the determination whether this applies to Jamaica. The British came and took control of St. Vincent and the Grenadines in 1763. And between then and the declining years of the 20th century, there was a colonial or amended colonial economy. What were the features of this economy? One, it depended on unlimited supplies of cheap labor, in the case of slavery, free labor. Unlimited supply of cheap labor, Damien. That's the first thing. Second thing, it was dependent on preferences abroad, whether sugar or bananas. It operated at a relatively low level of science and technology. I heard a lot of discussion about all those things. I'm just pulling them together. And there was insufficient infrastructure to propel the country. You have to change in St. Vincent and the Grenadines to a modern, competitive, decided post-colonial economy, which is at once local, national, regional, and global. And every single one of those words is pregnant with meaning. So, what you have to do is to build this altered economy based on an unlimited supply of skilled labor, priced at a level relevant to the International Division of Labor. Secondly, don't bother beat up your head about preferences. You have to be modern and competitive. And you have to use the cutting edge technologies. And you have to build infrastructure. No. That's what we are seeking to do in St. Vincent and the Grenadines. A lot of what was discussed, I pull things together and put it there as to what we are doing. Before I leave, I want to say this. The Secretary of State of the United States of America has issued a statement that countries which are complicit in his words with trafficking in persons and exploiting Cuban professionals, the doctors and engineers who come, that those who are complicit would lose their passport, they lose their visas and their families. Now, I know we're not involved in any exploitation of Cuban workers. And I know that the Cubans are not involved either, the Cuban government. I know the arrangements. And I believe that the Secretary of State is a good and decent man. I would not say anything bad about him. I don't say things, it is not in my nature to say bad things about people unless I have the evidence. And I have no evidence. And he appears to me to be a good man. And if he knows the facts, I'm sure that he will understand that we are not involved in that. But if it is determined that you have to take away my visa and Eloise's visa, I want to say this publicly. It could be reported. I'm not looking for a fight with anybody. But we have to be honest and open. The hemodialysis which we do in St. Vincent at the Modern Medical and Diagnostic Center with these 60 persons, without the Cubans there, I will not be able to offer that service. So, does anybody expect that I
will care about a visa?
Oh,
yes.
Because
leadership.
I want to keep a visa. That I would let 60 persons from the poor and working people to die. It will never happen.
Hey, leadership. Up your ass now, United.
I believe that the facts will show that we ought not to be worried about the strictures which they're talking about. I'm finishing. I talked too long already. I'm sorry, I talked too long already. Jeremiah once wrote something, the prophet. You don't know until it happens. And the voice of the people, it is said, is the voice of God. Jeremiah said, and God talked to him, before you were in your mother's womb, I knew you. I made you. I blessed you. I sanctified you. And I proclaim you prophet to all nations. Morning by morning, new mercies we see. All that we need, thy hand has provided. Great is thy faithfulness. Thank you very much, God.
Love and hate can never be friends. Oh no.
There goes Chief Curry and his ambassador plenipotentiary
Here I come with love and not hatred.
There you have it tonight. From us, I will analyze what we heard in tomorrow morning's program, but very much a leader-centric argument, a bit historical, based in history, argument as well, based in his faith, but more than all, a socialist-driven leader. Thank you very much for being here tonight. We will look back at Prime Minister Gonzalez's speech in tomorrow morning's program and analyze some of what we hear. Thank you all very much for being here tonight. We've been here a bit longer than we thought, but because we had to listen to ISAT's speech and The Prime Minister of St. Vincent gave quite a speech that I think is important to us. I think we have lost something within us that prevents us from being mobilized to stand, move forward with a massive lacking in leadership. Thank you all very much. Join us right back here tomorrow morning, 7 a.m. your Eastern time, noontime London. Thank you all very much, and good night from Global TV.
If you don't like missing out on the latest shows but still enjoy classic hits, then Global TV Group 358 is your perfect match. Global TV Group 358 isn't just another channel, it's your ultimate TV experience. From breaking news to binge-worthy dramas and timeless classics, we've got it all. Our unique blend of original content and global favorites means there's something for everyone. And guess what? With GTVG's seamless streaming, you can watch anywhere, anytime. Plus, our interactive features let you be part of the action. So, whether you're a seasoned binge watcher or a casual viewer, Global TV Group 358 is here to keep you entertained day and night. Don't just watch TV, experience it with Global TV Group 358. Subscribe now and never miss a moment.